Next up is Trinh van Erp with Department of Rehab. Hi, Trinh. You want to try and share again?
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay.
This is like speed dating, isn't it?
Sure is. Does anybody want to take a 5-minute break, or you guys okay to go through this?
I think everybody can stretch on their own. I think.
Yeah. Okay. Well, my name is Trinh van Erp, and I'm one of the managers in the Orange San Gabriel district for the Department of Rehab. And for the district office, whoop, I went ahead. We have 4 team managers. So just keep in mind that every district does everything differently. However, the services and the topic that I will be sharing today is available for anybody who is seeking DOR services. So Department of Rehabilitation, for today's discussion, I'm gonna share what DOR general services are. We do have the DOR student services, which I'm not gonna go over tonight. And those are for students age 16 to 24. And they're still in a high school or a student with disability, youth with disability. That is a different, it's moving by itself, Judy. So hold on. Okay, so I will also share the DOR process and timeline. And once you apply, I talk about individual plan for employment, what services DOR can provide, and supporter employment. And this is mainly for those that are eligible for regional center as well. And if you're not, do not fear, you are eligible. If you're interested in what DOR can offer, please do apply. It does not end if regional center, you're not eligible for regional center. I will also share about participant responsibility, what are the counselor and DOR responsibilities, and when does your case get closed with Department of Rehab. Okay. So who or what is the Department of Rehabilitation? We're a California state agency, and we're the largest vocational rehab program in the state. Where we provide independent program in the country, and we provide counseling, vocational rehab, and we work with community partners to assist the consumer that we serve. So we collaborate a lot, and we have a lot of stakeholders that we are involved with. To be eligible for Department of Rehab, there are 2 things. You have to have a physical or mental impairment or a disability, and you need to show that you're seeking DOR services to prepare for, secure, retain, and employment. So the gist of the Department of Rehab is employment outcome, okay? One thing that I want you to walk away with is DOR is about job, whereas regional center is for life. Once you get a job, everything is fine, we close the case. So we're not forever, whereas regional center is forever for life, okay? Who should apply for DOR? If you have a disability, if you want to work and you're able to work, are you having trouble seeking or getting a job because of your disability? Do you believe that VR services such as job placement, training, or any other job preparation would help you get or keep a job? Or if accommodation will help you retain employment? If you answer to yes to any of these questions, please come and apply for DOR services. And once you know more about it, and if it's not something that you need, you don't need to continue with DOR. Okay, the application process, is there's 3 requirements in order for the, that comes with the application. So the first thing you know, you have a disability, you're interested in applying, and you're gonna reach out to the department either by phone, walk-in, or an email, and you get an application, okay? You will provide DOR information that is necessary to begin an assessment to determine eligibility, priority of services. Basically what that is through the initial intake interview, the counselor will have the professional ability to ask a variety of questions to pull out what are some of the barriers to your employment, or what are things that you need in order for you to be successful in an employment setting. And our DOR a good program for you to be able to benefit from, to help and assist you with obtaining and entering and engaging in employment. Third, be available to complete the assessment process. We have a lot of participants that apply, but they don't go through the process, and then their case end up being closed prematurely because they're not able to participate. Program participants are expected to be available, responsible, active, and dedicated contributor to their own success. The reason I put this in here is because we have a lot of individuals who apply, but they do not show that they're able to benefit, or they don't follow through, and thus it just becomes deadwood and it doesn't go anywhere, and it's a lot, and then it gives, the opportunity is not there for them if they're not able to participate, because this is your program. The counselor cannot do it by him or herself. You need to be able to be an active participant and advocate for yourself, and your counselor will be there to assist you with advocating for what you need as well, okay? Through the assessment process, again, it's jumping. The purpose of the assessment process is to allow you and your counselor to discuss your disability and how it affects your ability to work. Again, everything we do is about, the outcome is employment, okay? The counselor and you will go over the type of DOR services you may need to become employed. And then your counselor will go through the following process. Once they are able to gather the information, so up front with the application, if you have any medical records and you know, or a letter or somebody advocating, and if your regional center, get your service coordinator to provide documentation that you can take with you to share with your counselor. This will expedite the process of eligibility determination. And it will move you through priority of services determination. And I'm going to talk about these three points here. And then the VR needs assessment. What is it that you need from the DOR? Okay.
Hey, Trin, this is Arturo.
Hey.
There's a couple of questions in there. Can I just pop in before you continue? So we had a question that says they need to be 16 years old, correct? Can we talk a little bit about student services trend for those students with disabilities between the ages of 16 to 22?
Yeah. We, under Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, it made the three Department of Ed, the DDS, and DOR, we need to work together, and each party needs to allocate 15% of their current budget set aside for youth with disability. So when I say 16 age, that means if they're in a school setting, they're still with, it could be a charter school, it could be homeschooling, and they need DOR student services. A team has been set aside, staff, DOR staff, that will go to the school setting to attend their exit IEP, or to talk to the students about the 5 DOR student services. And if they, one of the service is that to give them work experience while they're in school as well. And it's paid work experience to a limited number of hours. So if you're interested in the youth DOR student services, reach out to me and I will send out a team, or depending on where the school is, we can have you meet up with that staff to talk about the DOR student services. That is the reason I didn't mention it on this, is because it's a different case type, and therefore we are not able to provide these services that I'm going to talk about tonight. This is under general vocational rehab services, 18 and up. Okay. All right. Thank you, Arturo. Welcome.
Trin, there's also a question. Yeah. There's a general question of what is VR services. So if I can take that one. So when Trin or anybody in the Department of Rehab says VR, it's vocational rehabilitation, which can include employment services, support for training. So when we say VR services, it's anything any support or service that you can receive in order to become gainfully employed. The big thing to remember of when you apply for services with the Department of Rehab, the end goal of any service you get is employment. So it's paramount to understand that, employment is the end goal of anything that you do when you're working with our agency. There's another question too, Trinh. It says, is there DOR college financial aid for eligible students?
Okay, Terrell, let's stop at the question because this will be covered and then we'll revisit the questions at the end.
Great.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Okay, so my next slide talk about eligibility determination. To be eligible for services, an individual must show that they have a physical or mental impairment that substantially impedes his or her ability to secure employment, and VR services are required to prepare, secure, retain, or regain employment. Consistent with the applicant unique.
What's good? Over there. Hey, what do you need? I need that water level down to 4.
Unique strength, resources, priority concerns, ability, capability, interest, and informed choice. So you can be diagnosed with dual diagnosis, you can be autistic, you could be hard of hearing, blind, visual impaired, you could be orthopedic impairment, learning disability, intellectual disability, you could have had substance abuse, addiction, you name it. These are some of the things that some of the disability individuals that are determined eligible for. Be able to benefit from DOR services in terms of employment outcome in an integrated setting. The reason I mention this is because just the fact that you have a disability may not mean that you're able to benefit and benefit from DOR. Your severity, your disability is so severe that you're not able to find work, and therefore you're not able to be a good match for our program or be able to get the best out of our program, okay? Let me see. So if you're on earning Social Security, SSI or SSDI, you are presumed automatically eligible for DOR services. However, again, just the fact that you're on SSI does not mean that you can benefit from DOR services. Okay, receiving services. Again, every fiscal year, June to July, the state get a budget. So in order to determine if you will meet the significant disability served categories, we come up with 3 categories. One is the priority category 1, which is most significantly disabled. And then category 2 is significant disabled. And then lastly, the third one is you're eligible, but you are determined to have a disability, but it's not the most severe. Depending on this, the state will either serve you or put you on a waiting list. So far, we have been very fortunate with DOR where the state has always had an abundance of money that we're able to serve category 1 and 2, okay? I'm going on to my next slide. Once you have been determined eligible, you did all the assessment, you went through all of the questions with your counselor, and the next step is to do the individual plan of employment. Without the IPE, okay, I don't want to use too many acronyms, we can get very confused. Individual plan, without this, no services can be provided. So this is needed. This is like a contract. It's a written plan, it's a person-centered plan that is developed and determined by the counselor and the consumer. We call the participant consumer. And so they will be able to come up with a list of, let me see here. Based on the plan, you will have to apply for services. This plan will talk about, are there any assessment needed? Are you able to be employed? What services? The timeline. and what accommodations you need in order for you to be successful in the plan. And mainly the highlight of the plan is to establish a vocational goal. Again, this is about job. So we have to come up with the vocational goal, okay? And the goal can always change. It's not set in stone, because when has it been where your first job is your last job? No. So this can always be amended, but we need to have an IPE with the expectation and also with the services listed and the timeline. Okay. Under the IPE, these are things that will be explored and discussed. There's a description of your employment goal. How did the consumer and the counselor and any assessments done to help determine the vocational goal, depending on what type of IPE it is, how long it will take for them to achieve their goal, description of the services and service provided that you will need, timeline for providing each of the included services, description of the process to get services, criteria to measure your progress. For example, if you're going to be attending college or training, transcript, grades, progress report, these will help the counselor determine your progress in your training plan. It talks about the responsibilities of the counselor and the consumer and how it involved. Information about your participant in paying for, who's paying for what. Everything we do, the state will look for comparable benefit, meaning if you're interested in going to school, then we're mandated by state and federal that you need to apply for financial aid. And if you're awarded, then what is it awarded and what is not being awarded, DOR can come in and assist. It also talks about identification of, like I mentioned, comparable services and benefit. Basically, are there other services that is already available outside that we don't need to duplicate? This list lists a lot, and these are going to talk about some of the services that DOR can provide. And again, every individual is unique, and not all these services will apply to all consumers. So it's always individualized based on their needs. We provide counseling guidance, referral and assistance to get services from other agencies. We talk about job search and placement assistance, vocational and other training services, evaluation of physical and mental impairments, on-the-job training. We have interpreter services. We also talk about rehabilitation, orientation, mobility service for individuals who are deaf and hard of hearing and or blind, low vision. Occupational licenses, tools, equipment, initial stocks, and supplies, work experience opportunities, rehab, assisted technology services and device, support employment services, interview clothing and work uniform, transportation as required, such as travel and related expenses necessary to enable you to participate in a VR services, transition services for students, and then post-employment services. Okay. Support employment services. Support employment services, this is the definition what it is. And in order to utilize support employment services, the consumer have to be a regional center consumer as well as DOR, okay? And if they're not regional center consumer, it may be a vendor or another mental health organization or a family who indicated they will be the long-term funding. They provide us with a letter and say, I would like to provide my son or daughter, or I'm with the Orange County Mental Health, and I would like to sponsor and support my this participant after the closure of DOR cases for long-term support. So basically you're saying you're gonna fund, once the case is closed with DOR, to provide with the support and long-term job coaching services or any other services that they need once we transition the case to whoever is that support, okay? but mainly for us, this is if they are a consumer regional center. Support employment program provide activities and services include ongoing support services needed to support and maintain an individual with the most significant disability, including youth with most significant disability in an integrated employment setting for a term of employment. Okay. Provide job coaching help to learn your job, do well at your job, and keep working. That's the definition of job coaching. Support employment typically limited to 24 months. However, if it exceeds the 24 months, we have to provide justification and we can continue to provide services as long as the consumer is required services. Stable on the job, the DOR will help you transition to extended services. And when I mean extended service, it's just a vendor that will continue to provide the long-term support. Okay, so that's that's the meaning of support employment program. Additional programs and services, again, this is for anybody who's interested and who is available. We have assistive technology program, blind field services, deaf and hard of hearing section, mental health cooperative program that DOR provides services for. Under the education co-op program, where we are collaborative with some of the community colleges and provide C2C, college to career to assist them while they're in training. And this is through our partner with North Orange County Community College. They have the 3 campuses. So if you're interested, and this program, you don't have to be a regional center consumer. As long as you have autistic and you want to seek training opportunity and degree or career at a community college setting to earn your skills. We also have Transition Partnership Program, TPP, and this program is a co-op program that we also work with the school district to provide services. We have the weekend work. Again, this is only for high school students that we provide work experience for. And then we have the workability, workability 3, which is with the community college. And this is sponsored by DOR. And then workability 5, Cal State University is 3, and then 4 is Cal State University. And then work experience, we have adult work experience that we can provide, and the consumer does get paid for these work experience to build a resume, their skill set while they're looking for employment. We also provide services for traumatic brain injury program. One of the programs that I added here, the LEAP, Limited Examination and Appointment Program Certification, is that many of our consumers always wanted to know, how do you get state jobs? How do you apply? Well, your counselor can verify and help you be LEAP certified so that anytime you go into the employment looking for state, you can see that they accept LEAP applicant, and this exempt you from taking the writing test, but you still need to meet the minimum qualification of the job as well as go through the interview process. Then Schedule A letter is for federal job. The counselor can assist you by writing you and verifying that you have a disability, and through the Schedule A letter, you can attach that to your resume and application for federal jobs. Okay, I add this in there is because we have so many consumers that apply, but they do not follow through and they just drop out, and then they put all the responsibilities on the counselor. It's a team effort. You expect your counselor to have 120 or more cases, and they cannot manage the case by themselves. So I always ask the participant to reach out to the counselor on a monthly basis, say, hey, I'm alive, I'm doing okay, I received the books, I received transportation, thank you, how you doing? Something so that it triggered that your name and your information so that counselor, oh, this is who it is, I need to follow up, or he or she is doing okay, okay? So I add on here that please maintain contact with your counselor and keep all appointments, because we have a policy where after 3 attempts, email, phone call, or letter, or 10-day letter, and there's no response, no follow through, we end up closing the case unsuccessfully, okay? Talk with a member of your team if you're having problems that affect your plan. So such as changing your address, medical or financial situation. Because even though your IPE is written, we can put your case on hold until your life situation or your mental health or your circumstances is improved, okay? However, don't expect the counselor to hold your case for a year out. They're gonna take little steps to see how the progress, and if you can't benefit, you can't continue to participate, close your case. The thing that people fear is that, oh, once I close my case, DOR will never work with me again. I can never reapply. That is not true. If it didn't work out the first time, for whatever reason, you didn't have a good relationship with that counselor, he or she didn't treat you well, you didn't feel respected, or you didn't get the needs that you wanted, and you had a lot of life challenges, or you fail in school and you just couldn't do anything, and you end up closing, and then 3 months later, you got better medication, you feel better, and now you're able to resume, just reach out to the DOR office and we can always reopen your case, okay? Again, any changes that you might need in your plan, let the counselor know. Advocate for yourself. And if you don't know how to advocate for yourself, please ask your counselor. If you don't ask, they don't think that you'll need it, and they don't think that, that everything is fine. Apply for and secure available comparable benefits such as financial aid, grants, and service through any of the agencies that are non-DOR. Participate financially in your plan if necessary, okay? Attend and fully participate in training program and classes. Again, if you did great one semester in school, the second semester you just couldn't pass that math and you failed, reach out to your counselor. They may be able to provide accommodations or give you some time to retake the course to improve your grades. Everything is workable because we do not want to set you up to fail. We're here to help you. Your success is our success. If you succeed and get a job and we close the case successfully, more money will come back into our program, okay? And again, this is a free program, but somebody has to pay for it, and it's our taxpayer money, but we're here to support you if you need to. Again, provide regular progress updates and academic grades. Some students, because they're so embarrassed, they don't want to turn in their grades because they fail, they just don't want to disclose, they don't connect with the counselor, and then their case being closed because we cannot proceed if they're not in good progress. Attend annual review meeting as required. This is a federal mandate for us where every year we have to do an annual review. Participate fully in your job search and job placement activities. Again, we're not miracle workers where we have a list of jobs to say, hey, this is what we have, we'll place you right away. No. What we do is we work with you, provide the services, the accommodation, training if need be, and then we hook you up with the vendor that work and connect with community partners and American Job Center of California to help you with your resume, your interviewing skills, and then job placement, and then job coaching or short-term support, and then eventually help you retain your employment, okay? Obtain prior approval with your counselor or team manager before you purchase any goods and services. This is a big one for me because a lot of the consumer go out and buy things and then come back and expect DOR to reimburse them. We don't work that way. Everything we do is a process and we need approval. And if it's allowable, we will let you know. But always, always ask when in doubt. And if you did ask and it's a no, then we will help you find other resources, or we will work with you to help you make sure that it does not impede your ability to, not your IPE does not work out because of this situation and so forth, okay? Reach an agreement with your counselor and sign the IPE amendment if making a significant change in your plan. Again, if there's any changes in your plan, amendment needs to be due, if it's, let's say it's additional service that needs to be added that was not added at the beginning, it's really easy. Your counselor will amend it and then we'll send it to you. And it can be signed and approved and sent back. We are very fortunate that we move into the VR portal connection. So it's a website. So if you are internet savvy and you have an email, everything we do now, we work with the consumer to create the plan, and we will send it to the consumer to review. They sign, send back to us electronically. Everything is done, because before it has to be wet signature, but because of COVID, things have changed to make it easier for people, because they know that many of their consumers and participants are not able to come into the office. So now it does not need to be wet signature, but it could be expedited and be less cumbersome and get things moving faster, okay? Communicate, and interact with courtesy, consideration, and respect. This is one of the things that Arturo and I, it's our pet peeve. We're here to help you, we're not your enemy, but at the same time, we know certain people have, just put yourself in the employer's shoe. If you're gonna behave this way, who's gonna hire you, okay? So we just ask that you courtesy, consider, and respect to your counselor, to anybody that at DOR. At the same time, if you have a bad day, let your counselor know. We all had bad days, okay? All right. This is DOR responsibilities. It's not just one way, it takes two to mingle. And DOR, we do work as a team. So let's say Arturo is one of the counselor in my team and he's not available because he's on vacation. And we do have other counselors that will cover, or if you can't reach Arturo, I don't want the consumer to say, I can't reach any of you guys. You guys don't respond to my email. You have the team manager, you have the service coordinator, you have the office technician. Anybody can help, even if they do not belong in that team. A staff will reach out to assist you and relay the message to the appropriate person who can assist you, okay? Everything we do here is about informed choice. So the counselor will give you the information up front, and it is up to you and your consumer to decide what's best. The counselor will provide counseling guidance, keep the information confidential, except where the law requires that your counselor share the information. The counselor will inform you of the available resources, referrals as appropriate, advise you of your rights and remedies, including review of DOR decisions, explain how to request mediation, fair hearing, or file a complaint, inform you about client assistance program, which I'm going to talk about in the next few slides, assist you in coordinating services for your plan, monitor your progress, and complete your annual review, reach an agreement with you to provide written amendment if there's any changes to your vocational goal, and communicate and interact with courtesy and consideration and respect. Again, this works both ways. Okay, case closure. When does a case become closed? A consumer can have a case for 4 years, another consumer for 9 months. However, every case is unique. When a person gets a job, after 90 days of employment, everything is fine, DOR will close their case successfully, okay? Other reasons for closing your record of services are, you were determined ineligible for services, meaning you may not have a disability, you do not meet a requirement eligibility. We can close your case if you are not available to complete a needed assessment to determine your eligibility or priority of services. You cease to contact your DOR counselor, and you cannot be located or contacted. You decline to accept, participate in, or use DOR services. In other words, you refuse to work with DOR. You fail to cooperate in assessment or your IPE. Or lastly, you engage in any criminal activities, including fraud, when applying for or receiving VR services. Let me give you an example of that. We provide transportation check, and every month this person gets that check, and they would do it online. What do you call it, Arturo? Online where you deposit that check online through your bank,
So
online banking?
we've had situations where somebody does an electronic deposit through their bank app of the transportation allowance and then follows up and goes to the bank and deposits the physical check. So they double dipped.
Yeah. So we have closed those cases, or we counsel the consumer to say, don't let this happen again, because they may have made an error and they didn't know. But there were other things where they would cheat, lie, or fraudulent. Those have been closed in the past. Okay. All right, so I mentioned before, Client Assistance Program, CAP. This is a separate agency. It is not with DOR. They are part of the Disability Rights of California. And CAP is an entity where, let's say, the consumer try working with the DOR counselor, even the manager, even with the regional director and higher up, even with central office, but they felt that their request is not being met, or that they felt it was, they need a third party to mediate. You can reach this information, reach out to Disability Rights of California, and they are part of legal, they provide legal advice, and they will also mediate on your behalf, okay? So they don't represent DOR, they represent you, but they know DOR laws and regulations to be able to support and represent you and mediate on your behalf, okay? Confidentiality. DOR is committed to keeping any information you provided confidential, okay? You have a right to your privacy. Anytime we need to speak to a vendor or request, refer you to another vendor, we're gonna have you sign a form to give us permission and consent to allow us to, refer you to that agency or discuss about your situation in order to move forward with the referral. Okay, so we only talk about relevant or necessary information to carry out the purpose of the DOR purpose program. Right to access. As a participant, you have a right to access for your DOR records that are maintained. However, after a few years, I think it's 5, it becomes, they get rid of it, okay? And then right to request a record of service case file amendment. You may seek correction of any misinformation in your record of services by making a request to your DOR counselor or a team manager. The request should be in written as well as specific as possible, okay? Again, to connect with us, the best, I put my email here and my number, and this is our district address, 222 South Harbor Boulevard, Suite 300, Anaheim. However, we have multiple offices and districts. Depending where you live, the best thing I would recommend you do is go to our website, www.dor.ca.gov, and you can click Start Now and put your zip code in, and it will map out they will give you like 3 offices that you would want to apply for. And now you can put your basic information in there, send it in, and a counselor from that office will reach out to you and say, hey, you requested an initial contact. I am here, let's start initial, and then they will provide their services. So we're making great waves with this, yeah. And again, these are the 3 offices in our district. Okay, and we have one in Orange office on City Drive, and then one in West Covina, El Monte, and the big one is in Anaheim.
So Trinh, we have about a few minutes for questions.
I'm done.
I asked Arturo to look over the questions that you got asked and to pick the top 3 that he.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab 3, but before I do that, if you guys have any questions, even, hey, is Department of Rehab right for me? I put the contact information email for myself and Trinh in the chat. Feel free to reach out to us and ask us any questions. It's totally okay. Sometimes we might be the right agency to work with, and sometimes we're not, but just reach out to us. We're happy to talk to you. Okay, so one question, Trinh. What if you get a minimum wage job without any DOR support, but after a few years or so, you have not received any raises or promotions? Can the Department of Rehab help you progress in a job you already have or get something else? Can you help answer that?
The answer is yes, yes, yes. We're not just an agency to support you in a remedial job. If you need support and services for advancement or opportunity, and you're looking for another job, or the job is willing to promote you, but they don't have the means of, let's say they say you need a certificate or a licensure, you need to pay on, just reach back to DOR and we can provide you services. In the past, we were not able to open up a case because you're working. That is no longer the case.
Trinh, another question would be, if somebody is going to college or thinking about going to college, could the Department of Rehab help out financially for somebody who needs college in order to become employed?
Every case is different. However, we ask that you apply for financial aid and get the denial letter. Even if the parents are millionaire and you know that you're not going to be able to qualify, we need that to be able to justify and say you have the academic ability. However, you do not have the means to support yourself, and we, DOR, can come in and support that funding for training, because that is what is needed for you to be successful in your vocational goal. And training is one of the services that you need, and registration, books, supplies, whatever it is that you need, your counsel will be able to guide you and support you and provide you resources and services. Yeah, but yeah, the answer is yes.
Trinh, a related question to that. So what type of support does the Department of Rehab provide to high school seniors who are going to be moving on to college? And let's say these individuals have high functioning autism, life skills, etc. What kind of support does the department provide these folks?
All the support that I just mentioned, the services are available to those high school students. So it would behoove them to work with their school district to see if they can have a meeting with their PE, potential eligible counselor, who will help them with their exploring their vocational goal. Once that is established, then they will be referred back to the generalist counselor, and he or she will open the case and provide all the services that I mentioned tonight. Yeah.
Thank you, Trinh.
Thank you, Trinh.
Thank you. I don't know how to stop sharing. Yeah. Oh,
okay, I'll share and then that'll make it. Oh, there, you did it. So just so everybody knows, Arturo and Trinh are great friends of the Orange County Asperger's Support Group. Whenever we've asked for them to participate, they have. And just so you know, I believe Sherry's going to be presenting next month, Trinh, to talk about the apprenticeship programs that you are introducing, the one for dental. And so you don't need to talk about it today, but just so everybody knows, they come back quite often. They've spoken before, and definitely they're part of your team. So you need to treat these people with respect and show if they contact you, you need to return the favor and email or contact them back. But Trinh and Arturo, thank you so very much. Really wonderful job. Really appreciate you presenting today.
Thank you.
Thank
you for
you, Judy.
having us.